I remember the iconic group New Edition formed and began to make their way across the globe and into the hearts of millions of fans. I recall my brother saying that New Edition was like the new Jackson 5 and that they were blowing up and was around our age between 12 and 14 years old. I first heard their music on the radio around 1982 while growing up in Inglewood, California. They were and still are phenomenal. However, the group faced many challenges and would part ways from periods at a time. I want to explain how fans like myself go through the experiences that group members suffer and or profit from. I'm sure that many of you can relate. When Bobby Brown began his solo career after parting ways from the group, I surely wished him well, but my heart was still with the group. Competition that existed among the group when they were together was now Bobby Brown versus New Edition. Any other New Edition problems were now secondary. As a fan, more so of New Edition, I followed their music career daily. I also checked for any and all music released by Bobby Brown. I thought that New Edition's biggest challenge would be growing from boys to men within their music and the music industry. I was convinced that Bobby Brown would have the most challenges. He needed to mature lyrically as they did, but was also confronted with being alone on stage and in the studio without the vocal support of his former bandmates. The music that Bobby Brown released shortly after departing was modest at best. But I did hear and see a slight form of maturity. New Edition was still performing their album, All for Love, which was the last album that featured Bobby Brown in the 80s. Rumor had it that New Edition was in negotiations with Johnny Gill to replace Bobby Brown. However, as time went by, it was later explained that Johnny Gill was actually called to replace Ralph Tresvant, the lead singer of the group. Johnny did join the group, but Ralph continued as a member, and they shared as lead singers of New Edition. Bobby Brown was in the studio with the likenesses of the production team, L.A. Reid and Babyface. It was also mentioned that Teddy Riley, producer and band member of the group Guy, was also on board and working with Bobby Brown. The stage was set and the battle was on. I think both albums were released around the same time, but I remember hearing Bobby's album first. I was with a girlfriend of mine driving to my house when I stopped at a store to get some alcohol. When I returned to my car, my girl had changed the music in my tape deck. I heard what sounded like the introduction of a gospel choir. I said to her, "Who is this?" She replied, "This is Bobby Brown's new album." We bumped it on the way to my house and continued bumping it when we got to my house. It was definitely banging, and I remember my brother and I becoming concerned about New Edition's new album, which we had not heard yet. A few days had passed before I purchased Heartbreak by New Edition for my listening pleasure. I loved it. It was also a banger. Both albums were wonderful and prolifically written, recorded, mixed, and mastered. It's anyone's choice to say which one was better. Bobby Brown Don't Be Cruel album sold more units, but New Edition Heartbreak album sold well also. All of the group's members succeeded beyond measures, including producing and creating other groups, artists, films, businesses, etc. Many stories have and will continue to be written and told about this group and others. Personally, I wanted to share this story because it has meant so much to me, my friends, and family. We spend and continue to spend our lives having good conversations about the music and musicians we grew up with and love. I dedicate this to New Edition, including all members and fans, for you are irreplaceable, irrevocable, and pleasurable in my eyes forever.